Hi all, today I'll be discussing Module 1 of Unix Shell Programming, which is offered for 5th semester students of IT. Myself, Jean P Johny from Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. The first part we're going to discuss is Introduction to Unix. First of all, we'll discuss what do you mean by Unix. Unix operating system is a set of programs that act as a link between the computer and the user. So it is the interconnection. It is the thing which connects ourselves, that is the user, and the computer. So now we'll see what you mean by kernel. Kernel or operating system is the thing which coordinate all the details of the computer's internals, as well as it is the computer programs that allocates the system resources. Okay. So in order to communicate with the kernel, user needs a program that is called as shell. So actually shell is a command line interpreter, and what it does is it translates the command entered by the user into a language which is understood by the kernel. Okay. Then Unix was originally developed in 1969 by a group of AT&T employees, those are Ken Thompson, Dennis Ritchie, Douglas McClure, and Joe Osana at Bell Labs. Then there are various Unix variants available in the market. Some of them are Solaris Unix, AIX, HP Unix, and BSD. And also our Linux is also a flavor of Unix which is freely available. Several people can use a Unix computer at the same time, so it is a multi-user system. And a user can also run multiple programs at the same time, so it is a multitasking environment. This figure shows the Unix architecture. Okay, so inside that there is hardware, kernel, then shell, then application programs. Mainly there are 4 divisions for the Unix architecture. First one is the kernel. Kernel is the heart of the operating system. It interacts with the hardware, and most of the tasks like memory management, task scheduling, and file management are done by kernel. The next comes the shell. Shell is a utility that processes your request. I've already told that it is a program which translates the commands into a language which is understood by the system or the kernel. So the shell interprets the command and calls the program that you want. And the shell uses standard syntax for all commands. Some famous shells are C shell, Bourne shell, and Corn shell. Then the third one is commands and utilities. There are various commands and utilities which you can make use of in your day-to-day activities. Some of them are CP, MV, CAT, and GRAP. And there are over 250 standard commands plus numerous others provided through third-party software. All the commands came along with various options. And next comes the files and directories. So files and directories are used to store data. All the data of Unix is organized into files, and all the files are then organized into directories. And again, these are again further divided. It is again divided like a tree-like structure. And it is in total it is termed as file system. These are some of the key features of Unix architecture. First one is Unix system uses centralized operating system kernel which manages system and process activities. That is, centralized processing system is being used by the Unix systems. The next is all non-kernel software is organized into separate kernel managed processes. Then Unix systems are preemptively multitasking. Preemptive means it can be interrupted or moved out of execution by the kernel. And multitasking, the multiple processes can be run at the same time. So this is known as thread management. Next is files are stored on a disk in a hierarchical file system with a single top location throughout the system, with both files and directories, subdirectories, sub-subdirectories, and so on. Then, with few exceptions, devices and some type of communication between processes are managed and visible as files or pseudo files within the file system hierarchy. This is known as everything is a file. However, Linus Torvalds states that this is inaccurate and may be better rephrased as everything is a stream of files. The major capabilities of the Unix operating system are it is multitasking and multi-user. Then next is programming interface. It provides an interface between the user and the kernel. Then use of files as abstractions of devices and other objects. Then comes built-in networking is there in the Unix operating system. Then persistent system service processes called daemons and managed by init or inet. Now we will see Unix file system in detail. A file system is a logical collection of files on a partition or disk. A partition is a container for information and can span an entire hard drive if desired. Your hard drive can have various partitions which usually contain only one file system, such as one file system housing the / file system or another containing the / home file system. Okay. Next is one file system per partition allows for the logical maintenance and management of different file systems. Everything in Unix is considered to be a file, including physical devices such as DVD, ROM, USB devices and floppy devices. About the directory structure, Unix uses a hierarchical file system structure much like an upside-down tree. It's a tree-like structure with root / at the base of the file system and all other directories spreading out from there. A Unix file system is a collection of files and directories that has following properties. It has a root directory, which is / that contains other files and directories. And each file or directory is uniquely identified by its name, the directory in which it resides, and a unique identifier typically called inode. By convention, the root directory has an inode number of 2 and the lost plus found directory has an inode number of 3. Inode numbers 0 and 1 are not used, and file inode numbers can be seen by specifying the -i option to ls command. It is self-contained. There are no dependencies between one file system and another. It is not depending on any of the directories. The directories have specific purposes and generally hold the same types of information for easily locating the file. So one directory is holding the similar kind of information. These are the major versions of directories which is used in Unix. First one is /. It is the root directory which should contain only the directories needed at the top level of the file structure. Next one is /bin. This is where the executable files are located. These files are available to all users. Third one is /dep. These are device drivers. Fourth one is /etc. These are supervisor directory command where these are directory which stores supervisor directory commands, configuration files, this configuration files, valid user list, group, Ethernet host where to send critical messages. Next comes the /lib. This contains shared library files and sometimes other kernel related files. Sixth one is /boot, contains the files for booting the system. The next one is /home. It contains a home directory for users and other accounts. Eighth one is /mnt. This is used to mount other temporary file systems such as CD-ROM and floppy for the CD-ROM drive and floppy disk drive respectively. The next one is /proc. Contains all processes marked as a file by process number or other information that is dynamic to the system. 10th one is /temp, TMP, holds the temporary files used between the system boots. Next one is /usr. It is used for miscellaneous purposes and can be used by many users. It includes administrative commands, shared files, library files and others. And the next is /var. It typically contains variable length files such as long and print files and any other type of file that may contain a variable amount of data. So next is /sbin, contains binary files usually for system administration. For example, fdisk and ifconfig utilities. The 14th one is /kernel. It contains only kernel files. These are the commands which is used by the Unix operating system. First one is cat space file name. It displays a file name. And next is cd space dir name, that is it moves you to the identified directory. Next command is cp space file name file 1 space file 2. It will copy one file to the specified location. The next is file space file name. It identifies the file type. whether it is binary file or text file, etc. The next one is find space file name space dir, finds a file or directory. Next one is head space file name, it shows the beginning of a file. The next command is less space file name, it will browse through a file from the end or the beginning. Next command is ls space dir name, it shows the contents of the directory specified. The next command is mkdir space dir name, it creates a specified directory. Dir name specifies that directory which you want. Then 10th command is more space file name, it browses through the file from the beginning to the end. The next command is mv space file1 space file2, it moves location of or renames a file or directory. The 12th command is pwd, it shows the current directory the user is in. The next command is rm space file name, it removes a file. rmdir space dir name, it will remove the particular directory specified by the dir name. Then next command is tail space file name, it shows the end of a file. The command touch space file name, it creates a blank file or modifies an existing file or its attributes. Then the command whereas space file name, it will shows the location of a file. Then the command which space file name, it will show the location of a file if it is in your path. The df command. df stands for display. The first way to manage your partition space is with the df command. The df command displays the disk space used in kilobytes. So the figure shows the output of this command. So it will display the file system, then the available blocks and used space, then remaining available space, then the percentage of used space. Okay, under the file system, it describes which is the file system it belongs to, and under the 1K blocks, it describes the in total the available disk space, then the used disk space, then the remaining disk space, and the percentage which is being used. The df space minus k output is generally the same on all Unix systems. Here is what it actually includes. Each column, it will describe what? The file system column will describe the physical file system's name, and k bytes. Under k bytes column, it will describe total kilobytes of space available on the storage medium. Okay, and under used space, in used column, it will describe total kilobytes of space used. And under avail attribute will give total kilobytes available for use. And under capacity, it will describe the percent of total space used by the files. And mounted on will describe what the file system is mounted on. Then the du command. Du stands for disk usage. It enables you to specify the directories to show the space usage on a particular directory. This command is helpful if you want to determine how much space a particular directory is taking. The figure shows the example, and the command displays the number of blocks consumed by each directory. So under etc we have cron.d, default and dfs. These are the directories, and 10, 126 and 6. These are the number of blocks which is consumed by each of the directories. If you are specifying with -h option, it will be more to comprehend. It will display like this. So it will display all the number of blocks assumed by the directory in kilobytes.
Next, mounting the file system. Mounting means the process by which the operating system makes files and directories on a storage device available for the users to access via computer's file system. So it must be available. So for that, the command mount is used. The /mnt directory by the Unix convention is where the temporary mounts are located. So if you want to mount it temporarily, so /mnt directory should be used. If you want to mount a file system, this is the syntax. The syntax is mount space -t space file system type space device to mount space directory to mount to. Okay. For example, if you want to mount a CD-ROM to the directory /mnt/CD-ROM, you should type like this: mount space -t space ISO 960/dev/cd-rom/mnt/cd-rom. Okay, this assumes that your CD-ROM device is called /dev/cd-rom and that you want to mount it to /mnt/cd-rom. So mnt is the place where we make it the file available for a temporary manner. After mounting, you can use the cd command to navigate newly available file system through the mount point you just made. Next, to unmount the file system from your system, use the unmount command. For example, unmount space /dev/cd-rom. Okay, the mount command enables you to access your file system, but on most modern Unix system, the auto mount function makes this process invisible to the user and requires no intervention.
Now we'll see the user and group quotas. The user and group quotas provide the mechanism by which the amount of space used by a single user or all the users within a specific group can be limited by the administrator. So quotas operate around two limits that allow the user to take some action if the amount of space or number of disk blocks start to exceed the limit. So soft limit and hard limit. Soft limit means if the user exceeds the limit defined, there is a grace period. There will be time that allows the user to free up some space. But in hard limit, there will not be that grace period. So when the hard limit is reached, regardless of the grace period, no further files or blobs can be located. There are a number of commands to administer the quotas. The quota command displays the disk usage and limits for a user of group. Add quota, this is quota editor. Users or groups quota can be edited using this command. Quota check, it scans the file system for disk usage, creates, checks and prepares the quota files. The command set quota, this is a command line quota editor. Then quota on, this announces to the system that this quota should be enabled on one or more file system. Then quota off command, it announces the system that the disk quota should be disabled for one or more file system. Then rec quota, this prints a summary of the disk usage and quotas for the specific file system. Now we are going to see basic Unix commands. So based on the files and directories, there are a list of commands. First one is cat. cat command will display the file contents. cd command will change the directory to directory name to another. chgrp, it will change the file group. And chmod, it will use for changing permissions. cp will copy a file into a destination. Then file command will determine the file type. Then find command will find the files. grep will search a file for regular expressions. Then head command will display the first few lines of a file. In command, create a soft link on old name. Is command display the information about the file type. mkdir is for creating a new directory. More command display the data in paginated form. Then mv command is used to move a file name to a new location. pwd command, it will print the current working directory. rm command will remove a file. rmdir, it will delete a directory. Tail command print last few lines of a file. Touch command update the access and modification time of a file. For manipulating data, these are the commands used. First one is awk. It's for pattern scanning and processing language. cmp will compare the contents of two files and comm will compare the sorted data. Cut command will cut out selected fields of each line of a file. diff it is a differential file comparator. Expand command will expand the tabs to spaces. Join command will join the files on some common field. Perl, it is a data manipulation language. Set command is for stream text editor. Sort command will sort the file data. Split command is used to split the file into smaller files. tr will translate the characters. Unique command will report repeated lines in a file. wc will count the words, lines and characters. vi is it will open vi text editor. vim command will open vim text editor. And fmp FMT is simple text formatter. Spell will check text for spelling error, and iSpell is for again for text for spelling error. Emacs, it's a GNU project Emacs. EX comma edit it is a line editor. Emacs is GNU project Emacs. The commands which is used for compressing the files are, first one is compress. It is used to compress the files. Gunzip, it will uncompress the gzip files. Gzip will GNU alternative compression method. Uncompress will uncompress the files. Unzip, it will list, test and extract the compressed files in a zip archive. Okay. Then zcat, that is a cat or compressed file. ZCMP, it will compare. CAT will concatenate and CMP will compare. ZT will compare the compressed file again. Zmore, it will the file persuel filter for CRT viewing of compressed text. The commands used to get some information are, the first one is a propose, that is locate commands by keyword lookup. Next command is info, it will display the command formation pages online. Then the command man will display manual pages online. Then the command what is, it will search the what is database for complete words. Then yelp will, it is a genome help viewer. These are the commands which is used to communicate through network. Or FTP, it is a file transfer program. RCP is a remote file copy. Rlogin, it is a remote login to a Unix host. RSH is a command to remote shell. Then TFTP, it is a trivial file transfer program. Telnet, make terminal connection to the another host. SSH command will secure the shell terminal or command connection. SCP command secure shell remote file copy. Okay, SFTP, it is a secure shell file transfer program. The commands used for on-screen messages to other users are, first one is evolution. It is a GUI mail handling tool on Linux. The mail command, it will simply send or read mail program. Then MESG, that is message permit or deny messages. Parcel command is for file sending to another user. Then Pine, it is a VDU based mail utility. Talk command, it is it used to talk to another user. Write command will give the permission to write message to another user. For the programming utilities, the following commands are used. The dbx command is for Sun debugger. GDB command is for GNU debugger. Make will maintain the program groups and compile programs. NM is for print programs name list. And size command will give the program size. Strip is for remove the symbol table and relocation bits. And CB is for C programmer beautifier. CC is for compiler for Sun Spark system. C trace is for C program debugger. GCC is a GNU NCC compiler. Indent command, it will give intent and format C program source. And BC stands for Interactive Arithmetic Language Processor. GCL, it is GNU Common Lisp. And PERL, General Purpose Language. And PHP is a Web Page Embedded Language. PY, Python Language Interpreter. And ASP, Web Page Embedded Language. And CC, C++ Compiler for Sun Spark System. And G++ is GNU C++ Compiler. Java C is a Java compiler. And Applet Viewer is a Java Applet Viewer. And NetBeans, Java Integrated Development Environment on Linux. And SQL Plus is run the Oracle SQL Interpreter. The command set env, that is, it will set environmental variables. stty, it will set terminal options. Time is a timer command. Top displays all system processes. tset will set terminal mode. tty will print current terminal name. umust shows the permission that are given to view files by default. uname displays the name of the current system. Uptime, it will give the system uptime. User add will create a user account. Users print the names of logged in users. vmstat command will report virtual memory statistics. W command will show what logged in users are doing, and who will give the list of logged in users. So till now we have seen what do you mean by Unix and what is the architecture of a Unix, and we have familiarized with lots of commands which can be used in Unix. So thank you all.